Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakar Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And peace, salutations, and blessings be unto the hopeful elect, pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe, in the sincere hopes of being delivered in these last days. All right, this is the brother Yakanan from the GMS England branch. As you can see here, I have this this news report. This is taken from Lanx Live, and it's entitled DWP, which stands for the Department of Work and Pensions, to get Orwellian powers as it overpays 9.5 billion in a year. Okay, now it says the new powers include demanding bank statements, which is pretty much, already in effect. They already do that. Withdrawing your money and banning people from driving. Okay, so they're about to give them powers to be able to go into your bank account and seize money, and also give them power to ban you from driving. Okay, now as the title says, that's very Orwellian. These are examples of Orwellian, power. Okay, and that's draconian, power. Because when we go to Revelation 13 and verse 11, the scriptures speak about the beast that had two horns like a lamb, but spake as a dragon. Okay, so these devils, the elites, the wicked elites of Esau Edom, they're about to show you how draconian things can get upon this earth. They're about to show you, how Orwellian things can get upon this earth. Okay, and that's why you had movies like George Orwell's 1984, and I believe it was also a book, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and they showed you, in that film, the harsh laws, the harsh measures that were taking place and how people were living. Okay, and that's, the kind of environment, the kind of society, that they want to mirror into reality. Okay, and that's what this New World Order system is all about. Now, let's get the definition of Orwellian. It says Orwellian refers to situations, ideas, or societal conditions that are reminiscent of the oppressive and totalitarian themes found in the writings of George Orwell, particularly his novel 1984, all right, which again was made into a movie. It often describes practices involving propaganda, surveillance, which they're going to mention in this article, and the manipulation of truth, which that's heavy, underway in Esau Edom's kingdom, that undermine personal freedoms and democratic values. All right, so that's the definition. And it, it goes to show that, that movie and movies of that nature, all right, that's all, predictive programming, all right, preparing you for the future that they envision, that they were, bringing about even from back then. Now here it says, MPs say the DWP is to carry out Orwellian levels of mass surveillance, okay? And the ultimate surveillance that these devils are going to bring in, of course, is the Revelation 13 and 16, is when they bring about the RFID chip, when they require you to take within yourself, that chip. That's going to be maximum surveillance, all right? Because that's going to be monitoring you 24/7, 365. But not only your location, that's going to be monitoring your mind state, okay? That's going to be monitoring, how you feel, your emotions, your likelihood of, committing a crime, okay? That's going to be monitoring, whether you have, disease within your body. So it's going to be a bio, modification system as well. Okay, and they're pushing this, they're promoting these things, in various different, tech companies, man. So these things are becoming a reality, right before our eyes. But that's going to be the ultimate surveillance device, is the MOTB, the Revelation 13 and 16. And this is what all of this is heading to. Okay? All of this is heading to, the MOTB. All right? Let me go back. Now it says, data revealing more than £9 billion is estimated to have been overpaid in benefits because of fraud and error has been branded. Salakia with these pop-ups, man. All right. Has been branded staggering by a government minister. The latest official statistics said the total rate of benefit expenditure overpaid in the year to end March was £9.5 billion, with fraud accounting for most of that sum. All right. So these overpayments are largely, being linked to fraud. Now, the only way they're going to be able to completely have that under control is by bringing in, the MOTB, the Revelation 13 and 16. Okay, that's going to solve much of the issues, much of the problems that Esau has in this society that he has really developed himself. Okay, and these elites, they utilize, fraud in order to gain, all right, in this world too. Now it says in the same period, an estimated 1.2 billion was underpaid in benefits, the Department of Work and Pensions figures showed. Fraud accounted for 6.5 billion of the total overpayments figure in the year of March, down from 7.3 billion a year earlier. All right. New AI system for making money takes US by storm. All right. And this is not even, linked to this particular article, but it just shows you what they're pushing. All right. They're pushing AI in everything, that we're witnessing right now. Now it says claim and error was up year on year, accounting for £1.9 billion in a year of March from £1.6 billion the previous year, while overpayments because of official error also rose to 1 billion from 0.8 billion the previous year. Now, even concerning errors, people that work in the system, making errors, that's something that's going to be a thing of the past too, because everything is going to be handled by AI. Okay? Everything is going to be handled by AI, which, brings to mind the quote from, Carl Schwab, you will own nothing and you will be happy. All right? Because they don't need humans in these positions, doing these, jobs. They want to replace that, with machine, with AI. Okay, to minimize mistakes and to maximize profitability, and that's why, they're replacing humans, in the factories with, robots, man, with bots. So none of these things, are by coincidence, man. All right, they're steadily, bringing forth this evil work through their law. All right, now. Let me right quick get, because I have it loaded up already. This is Psalm 94 and verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? All right. And in the NOT it says, can unjust leaders claim that God is on their side? Leaders whose decrees permit injustice. All right. And that's exactly what we're witnessing. Decrees that permit injustice. Through their law, they're bringing about injustice. Through their laws, they're bringing about wickedness and unfairness. All right, which also reminds me of, let's get it right quick, Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. And it reads, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And in the NLT it says, what sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws. All right. So these are wicked decrees that are coming out, of the wicked elites of Esau, Edom, all right? Because the power, right now is within their hand, to do so, all right? Now it says, in a written statement published alongside the figures on Thursday, he said, this government made a manifesto commitment that it will safeguard taxpayers' money and not tolerate fraud or waste anywhere in public services. With welfare benefits paid to around 24 million people, the welfare system is a deliberate target for both organized crime groups and opportunistic individuals, and it is vital that the government continues to robustly tackle fraud to ensure support goes to those who need it most. Now, when you look at that figure of 24 people receiving welfare benefits, when they make mandatory, all right, the MOTB, all right, that chip, those 24 million people straight away are going to be in a chokehold, all right, because they're receiving benefits from the system. They're sustaining themselves using the system, whether they're working or not. Some people work and they receive, benefits, all right. Some people don't work and they receive benefits. So when they bring out this chip, the requirement is going to be, if you don't have this technology within yourself so we can track and make sure everything is verified, then we're going to cut off your benefits. So just off of that alone, many people are going to succumb to taking the MOTB for fear of not being able to provide for themselves and their families, or be a part of society, be a part of the grid of Esau, Edom. Okay? So what's happening upon the earth is very evil and very dark, but these are the necessary evils that need to come to pass to bring about biblical prophecy, man. Okay? So we're in a heavy time right now. Orwellian powers, man. All right? That's what's coming. Them Orwellian powers. When they can just, cut you off without giving you an explanation, which they've actually done it to people already. There's been reports of people not being able to access their funds, in their bank accounts, so on and so forth. There's people that have had their bank accounts shut down. They showed you that with Kanye West a few years ago, all right, where they actually stopped him from accessing his millions and closed down his accounts. Then he had to, drastically move, the money to another bank account. But really using him, they were just showing you, a shadow of things to come. All of these situations are set up to give you examples of what's possible in the future. And that's what they were using that bug out for, man. All right? So that's all I really wanted to get into concerning this video. Lord willing, it was edifying. And until the next one, I'll say shalom.